Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to discuss about HTTPS and TLS or SSL protocol. And with HTTPS is very important because today a lot of websites, like almost most of the websites, do support HTTPS protocol. So we will look at what these are. And in my last like 8 to 10 videos, I have been covering HTTP protocol. And HTTPS is just like HTTP along with security. We will see that like how HTTP and HTTPS differ. So before we go and discuss about HTTPS and TLS protocol, let's first discuss about cryptography and some of the important terms that are associated with cryptography. So cryptography is the study of techniques that is used for securing the communication between like two or multiple people. So we'll see how this is done, how this communication is secured actually. So there are two like frequently used words in cryptography: encryption and decryption. So encryption is basically converting the plain text into some random text, and again from that random text converting that back to plain text is decryption. So see this example here. So let's say this is the plain text here called Shivam, and let's say I will use some algorithm to encrypt this message. This is basically Shivam is a plain text. So I will convert this into something random. So what I will do is I will shift each letter right by 3. So when I shift like each letter in Shivam by like 3, so you will get this AM SHIV because I shifted like all to 3 on the right hand side. So of course you see initially I had this plain text Shivam. Now I have changed this to like message MShiv. So of course Shivam is more plain text and MShiv is kind of random if you see random orders of letters. So this is called encryption here. So I converted plain text to an encrypted message MShiv. So this is encryption. Now, what is decryption? So, decryption is basically converting this encrypted message to this plain text, the opposite of encryption. That is decryption. So, how will I convert that to plain text? Of course, we will shift each letter left by 3. Then you will be able to get the plain text. So, of course, what you will do is as you will shift by 3 here, from here to here, right? It will go to the first place. Now M will of course rotate and go to the last place. So shift all by 3 to the left, then you will get the plain text back from the encrypted message. Now what is this shifting here? So shifting is actually the algorithm here. And what is this 3 here? This 3 is called the key here. I will explain that in next slide. So cryptography terminology, there are many others. Like cipher is one of the common term used in cryptography. So cipher is refers to the algorithms used for encoding, decoding messages, or the algorithms used for encrypting, decrypting messages. So of course here the algorithm is shifting each letter, right? That is the algorithm here. So we are using a shifting algorithm here. Next are the keys, an important parameter that determines the output of ciphers. So of course, for algorithm to work, you also need to supply this a key. Here the key is 3. So we are telling the algorithm that shift each letter by 3 or shift each letter right or left by 3. So of course that 3 is the key here. We can also change the key to 4 or 5 also. Then the algorithm will of course shift it by 3 or 4 or 5. Then there are two types of cryptography. One is symmetric key cryptography, one is asymmetric key cryptography. So when same key is used for encrypting and decrypting, in that case it is called symmetric key cryptography. In this example, if you see the same key 3 has been used both for, if you see for encrypting also, for decrypting also. So this is an example of symmetric key cryptography. But there can also be asymmetric key cryptography. This is different. Here different key is used for encoding and decoding, or different key is used for encrypting and decrypting messages. So basically a pair of public private key is used, but that we will see later, not now. I have just given an example of symmetric cryptography here. Also, in case of symmetric key cryptography, this key should be private. That 3 should be private, because let's say I and you are communicating this message, and if somebody else also they also know this key, that they can also decrypt it. But of course, you want to do secure communication. You do not want any third party to know the, like you do not want them to decrypt or encrypt the message. That's why typically this key typically will be private. But in asymmetric key cryptography, what will happen? One key will be public to all, like everybody can see that key. One key will be private, so public and private key. So let's now discuss about HTTPS. So HTTPS equal to HTTP plus SSL or TLS. So if you see this diagram, so this is the normal HTTP. If you see, you have in the application layer, you have the HTTP protocol, then transport layer TCP protocol, network layer IP protocol, data link layer network interface you have, or data link layer that is there. So that this is basically the TCP IP protocol. Then if you see with HTTPS, if you see one extra layer gets included. So of course, again, you have HTTP at the top, but in between TCP and HTTP, there is SSL or TLS. So that this is basically security layer. So this will help in securing the message that is stored in the HTTP. And then again, you have the same thing, TCP, IP, and network interface. I mean, all the other three layers remain same. So only one extra layer gets added, SSL or TLS layer, which helps in securing the data that is there in HTTP. So the next question is, why do we need HTTPS? Why we cannot do everything with HTTP itself? So we'll answer that in this slide. So HTTPS, if you see, it stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secure, and this is the secure version of HTTP. HTTPS is encrypted in order to increase the security of data transfer. So in HTTP, you do not have secure data. Like everybody in the internet can see the data that you are sending. But with HTTPS, it will encrypt that data or encrypt the plain text that you are sending into some random text, or this is also called ciphertext, and others will not be able to make any sense of that. And this will increase the security of data transfer. And this becomes very important because over internet today, like we are sending bank account details, passwords, which are very sensitive data. We do not want this to be seen by anyone in the middle itself, like in the middle of internet. We do not want anybody to see it. That's why HTTP has become very important in the modern world or in the modern internet. Now we look at which exact step does this encryption happens actually, that TLS protocol we have discussed about. So after HTTP, SSL or TSL security layer comes in. So if you see, let's say if we open this https www.google.com, so of course now we are going to discuss HTTPS, and all of the websites that are very popular as google.com, facebook.com, youtube.com, all of this by default support HTTPS. And if you even if you open http www.google.com, it will redirect you to https www.google.com. And if you open this website, of course, the first thing is to do the DNS resolution. So what is the IP address of this host name? So that will be found out first by the browser. Second step is TCP handshake. I mean, the browser will connect to the server using TCP handshake. Now, what happens after the TCP handshake, right? This is very important. So do you remember in HTTP what used to happen after TCP handshake? After TCP handshake in HTTP, the request message used to go from browser to server. But in this case, there are many extra steps before we actually send the request. So let's look at what are those extra steps. So of course, we have TLS or SSL to perform those extra steps of encrypting the message. Now we will look at how this encryption of message is done. So TLS stands for transport layer security. So basically, if you see transport layer is, if you see this TLS is in between the transport layer and the application layer. So before handing over the data that is there, application data that is there to the TCP protocol, what this TLS will do, it will encrypt the data and then only give the data to the TCP for transferring it to the server. Now SSL is so I have been talking about TLS or SSL here, right? So I will discuss about that here. So SSL stands for Secured Socket Layer, and SSL or TLS is a protocol for encrypting the internet communication and verifying the server identity. So this protocol SSL or TLS is used for two purposes. One is of course encrypting the communication, like in the internet communication itself. The second is also used for verifying the server identity, whether the server is like, let's say if you're communicating with Amazon server, it may happen that some other server may also tell that I am the Amazon server. Now how do you differentiate between like a fake Amazon web server and a real Amazon web server? That can also be done with the help of SSL or TLS protocol. And TLS is the successor of SSL. In today's world, like none of the browsers or the, I will say, web servers use SSL for encrypting the communication. They use TLS, like which is the kind of updated version of SSL. Now we will see how does this protocol work? How does this TLS protocol work? So before we go and discuss about the TLS protocol itself, so let's first discuss about SSL or TLS certificate, or also called as digital certificate in internet. So what is this SSL or TLS certificate, which is very important actually, a very important part of the HTTPS protocol, and also very important part of the internet itself. So this is a certificate signed by an authority which is used to verify the ownership of a server. So as I told you in the previous slide, that SSL TLS is the protocol for encrypting internet communication and also for verifying the server identity. So using this SSL or TLS certificate, the browser can verify whether the server to which it is talking is actually real or fake server. So using this, it can verify. So this SSL or TLS certificate, this includes the following fields. So this is kind of certificate itself. Like typically you also get certificates and there will be a lot of fields in that certificates. So this is a kind of digital certificate which contains the following fields. The domain name that a certificate was issued for. So to which domain name the certificate is issued. So for example, Amazon.com it can be, or any other Google.com it can be. So this kind of domain name to which it is issued. Which person, organization, or device it was issued to. So of course, let's say if Google is the organization, then it can be like Google's name, or Amazon is the organization to which the certificate is issued, then it can be Amazon name here. The next one is which certificate authority issued it. So there are a lot of CA or certificate authorities which issue these digital certificates and they actually charge some money. So they will charge some money from Amazon or Google and they will issue this certificate to them. But before this, of course, they will ask a lot of information from Google or Amazon. And after that, they will issue this certificate. Now, next field is the certificate authority's digital signature. So after verifying all the details, it will also do a digital signature also. And it has a lot of importance. We will see that later. Then there will be other fields like as stated subdomains of let's say Amazon or Google. What is the issue date of this certificate? Like when was this certificate issued? What is the expiration date of the certificate? That will also be there. And then one more important thing is what is the public key of let's say whichever domain it is there. Let's say Amazon is there. And what is the public key of their servers, right? If it is google.com, what is the public key of their servers? This is very important field in this certificate. And the private, so this is kind of asymmetric cryptography here. The public key is typically public, like I and you will also know this public key. But the private key is kept only with those servers. Like if the Amazon has the certificate, like they will and publicly announce their public key, but private key they will keep with themselves. Now, what is the importance of this private and public key? See, using both the keys, you can do encryption and decryption. But let's say if I encrypt something using public key, let's say their public key, then they can only decrypt using private key only. I mean, it can only be decrypted using private key. But we know that private key is only with them. So only they will be able to, or their servers will be able to decrypt my message. Now, this is another example of certificate. If you see, this is again in the form certificate itself, and you have like all the data, like certificate format, version number is there, serial number. Then there is more validity period is there, subject's name, subject's public key, which is very important, and there are many other information in this certificate. And at last, digital signature is there. This is very important. So what this, I told you, there is this CA or certificate authority. What it will do? So certificate authority will also keep a private key with him. So it will also have it. So see here, there are two private public key pairs. So one is of course of this. So this public key, if you see, this public key and private key is associated with the web servers or Amazon web server, Google.com web server. So this is one type of private public key available here. There is second type of private public key also. So that is the one of the CA or certificate authority. So what the certificate authority will do is it will use its private key and it will sign this certificate. So whatever information is there, it will encrypt this information and that is basically called as a digital signature. So whatever random text will be obtained after encrypting this is called digital signature. And this will also be at the bottom of the digital certificate. And we will see how this is useful in TLS algorithm actually, in TLS protocol to verify the authenticity of server. We'll see that. Now, this is a very important part actually. So I mostly wanted to focus on SSL TLS handshake actually, but I thought also of introducing you to other terms also so that at least you have some idea about cryptography. Now, what happens is SSL TLS handshake. So actually we're discussing about TLS handshake because SSL, as I told you, it is not used today and TLS is the updated or modern version of SSL. So we'll discuss only about TLS handshake from now on. Now, what happens in TLS handshake between client and server? So I told you first what happened, DNS resolution happened, then TCP handshake happened. Now third step is, of course, the message needs to be encrypted. So for that, what is actually the protocol? So there are actually 4 steps if you see involved here. The first step is specify which version of TLS they will use. So both the client and server agree on like which TLS version they will use. And TLS is like again is kind of software itself, code itself. So it also has different versions. Like it can have 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. I will also show you example in some time. So first they have to agree on like which version they want to use for communication. After that, they need to decide on which cipher suits they will use. So what is the cipher suits here? So basically cipher suits are the what algorithms they will use for encryption and decryption. So they also need to agree on that. Next one is a verified SSL certificate sent by the server using asymmetric encryption. So after that, what will happen? I mean, server will of course send its SSL certificate, or I mean, I am using the wrong term here. It should be kind of like a TLS certificate because we are discussing about TLS here. So the server will send the TLS certificate to the client or browser. Now browser will verify using this TLS certificate whether that server is real or fake. The last step here is generate session keys in order to use symmetric encryption after the handshake is complete. So in SSL TLS handshake, both the asymmetric cryptography or asymmetric encryption, also symmetric encryption or symmetric cryptography, both are used. So asymmetric encryption or cryptography is used for verifying the host, whether that is real or fake. And then symmetric cryptography is used for further communication. So after that, of course, what will happen? Both will be exchanging data, application layer data, both will be exchanging. So they will exchange that using symmetric cryptography itself. The first example I gave, right? So that was one example of symmetric cryptography, where like the key was same, like both will have the same key, and they will use the same key for encrypting and decrypting. Now, of course, we will see like how they both obtain this private key, like because this is very critical. Let's say if this private key, if it is known to someone else also, like let's say third person, then again this communication again does not is not safe because that third person can also be able to see what they are communicating. Now let's look at what are the exact steps in TLS handshake. So the four steps I have mentioned here is general, quite general steps. But now the exact steps actually depends on which algorithm is being used. And as I have told you, in the second step, decide on which cipher suits they will use or which algorithms they will use for encryption or decryption. So all the exact steps will depend on this. So there are different kinds of algorithm here, like cryptographical algorithms, which are used for encryption and decryption. Some of the popular one are, I will say RSA. Another is Diffie-Hellman algorithm. So these are some of the popular ones. So exact step depends on whether that in the TLS handshake, whether that let's say they are agreeing on RSA or whether they are agreeing on Diffie-Hellman algorithm. So first, let us discuss what are the exact steps which is followed for TLS handshake when we are using RSA key exchange algorithm. So the first step is the client hello message. So the client, so basically it's kind of handshake. So they are doing a handshake before actually transferring the application data. So the first step is client will say hello. So in this hello message, what will be there? The client initiates the handshake by sending a hello message to the server. The message will also include which TLS version the client supports, the cipher suits the client supports, and a string of random bytes known as client random. So these three information, first client will send to the server, and this message is called client hello message. Now the server will of course, so of course client has told like which TLS version I am using or I support, and also which algorithms I support, like whether I support RSA or Diffie-Hellman or like any other algorithm, which algorithms I support. Now the server will see this message that what client has said, client hello message, and what it will do, of course, it has to also verify that it also has that TLS version that client has, let's say. So in reply to the client hello message, the server sends a message containing the server's SSL certificate. This is very important. So in the server hello message, what will happen? The server will send its SSL certificate. As I told you, every server will have its SSL certificate. Like whichever server supports HTTPS communication or whichever website supports HTTP communication, their server will have a SSL certificate that is signed by the certificate authority. Now it will send the SSL certificate to the client. Along with it, it will also select the which algorithm it has selected for communication. That also it will tell the client. And also server will also generate a server random and another random string I will say, and it will send all this data to the client as a server hello message. Now, what is the next step? Now, the client will receive this server hello message in which three information are there. SSL certificate of the server is there. The which algorithm server wants to use for encryption, decryption, that is there. And at last, the server random is there. So the next step in TLS handshake is authentication. So the client verifies the server's SSL certificate with the certificate authority that issued it. This confirms that the server is who it says it is, and the client is interacting with the actual owner of the domain. Like this step is actually a very important step because this step helps in verifying the server itself, whether that server, web server with which the client or browser is talking is genuine or not. I'm not going to discuss into very details of this. In the next slide, I will discuss about like how this verification is actually done with the help of SSL certificate and certificate authority. So see, this authentication step is done with the help of asymmetric cryptography or asymmetric encryption. But after that, like after this authentication is done, and of course, after all of this is done, they will start the normal communication, right? The normal like exchanging the application data. Now that message, like application message or data, will be encrypted or decrypted using the symmetric algorithm. So they have to first share one private key. So we are now discussing like how they are able to generate a common private key and nobody else will know about this private key. We will see how they are able to do it. So that is called pre-master secret. So this pre-master secret is also called private key basically. So the client sends one more random string of bytes. This is called the pre-master secret. This pre-master secret is encrypted with the public key and can only be decrypted with the private key by the server. So what client will do? So of course the client will also get the public key from this SSL certificate. What is the public key of the web server? It will get that from the SSL certificate because in SSL certificate, if you remember, one of the important field was the public key of the web server. Now, what it will do, it will generate some random string and then it will encrypt this random string using the public key of the web server. Now, since it is encrypted using this public key of web server, only the web server which has the private key can decrypt it. Nobody else can decrypt it. And whoever has the private key, they can only be able to decrypt it. And we know that the private key is only with the server. So only they can decrypt this message. And then of course the client will send this whatever encrypted message that is there, it will send to the server. And this encrypted message you can also see, everybody can see, but you will not be able to make sense of this because you do not have the private key. So now the client will send this pre-master secret to the server. Now a server will do, as I told you, only server has the private key, so it will use the private key to decrypt this pre-master secret. Now both have this, I mean kind of private key, both have shared this private key. So of course for client, it is already the random string of bytes that it has encrypted and sent to the server. Now server has also decrypted that and it has also got the same random string of bytes that the client has generated before this. Both are sharing this common private key and no others can view this because I told you in this fourth step, it was encrypted. This random string was encrypted and only server has the private key. Now session keys are created. What will do, both client and server generate session keys from the client random, the server random and the pre-master secret. So both the client and the server will combine these three random, basically client random, server random and pre-master secret to obtain the common private key. So this pre-master secret is actually not the common private key because they will also add some more randoms into this. So if you remember in the client hello message, the client has sent the client random and in the server hello message, the server has sent the server random. So both will combine like client sorry, both will combine client random, server random, and this pre-master secret, and they will use like RSA or Diffie-Hellman, any of this to then obtain a common private key. So now both have actually generated the same private key, and they can use this private key for communication from now onwards. So now client is ready. So the client sends a finished message that is encrypted with session key. So it will of course send a finished message. It will also encrypt using the common private key and it will send to the server. The server will also tell that it is also ready for further communication. And the server will send a finished message with the encrypted with this session key, or session key is basically the private key here. Now, like both are ready now. Now they can exchange all the application message, like they can exchange the password, they can exchange the bank account details that you fill. Now they will be able to fill it. But before actually exchanging all these message, like whatever message is there in the HTTP, right? Whatever message is there. Before exchanging that, a lot of steps go like for in the SSL handshake, and this is very important. And the ninth step, if you see, is secure symmetric encryption achieved. The handshake is completed and communication continues using the session keys. After this, so this handshake will be done only once. After this, all the normal communication will go on. But the difference between HTTP and this will be in HTTP, the normal communication used to happen like there was no security there. Every message can be seen by anybody on the internet. But here, all those messages will be encrypted and nobody can see. Only the I will say the server will be able to decrypt it using the private key here that is there. Similarly, client will be able to decrypt using the private key. They both will only understand those messages. So the next question is, how does the browser verifies that the server is genuine? And I told you in this third step, the client actually the browser verifies the SSL certificate and verifies that whether that server is real or not. So see the steps here, like how actually the browser verifies. So every browser stores the public keys of popular certificate authorities. So of course, in the second step, if you see the server in the server hello message, it has also shared the SSL certificate of it, which is signed by some popular CA or certificate authority. So let's say if you want to view the certificate, like what is the SSL certificate of any website, is you can visit, let's say, google.com and click on this. This is a Firefox, and same you can do in Chrome also. Click on connection. So if this is log sign is there, that means the connection is secure using HTTPS. And you can click on more information here, view certificates, and you will be able to view the I will say the TLS certificate or SSL certificate for google.com. You can see the subject name, country, US, state, and what is the organization name to which this certificate is issued. Then who has issued the certificate? This is very important actually. So who and which is the certificate authority who has signed this one? So this issuer name is there, validity is there, like when it was issued and when it will expire. Then subject alternate names, a DNS name of Google is there, google.com is there. Then there are more like public key of, public key of google.com will be here. So public value is there. So a lot of information are there in this. So every browser stores the public keys of popular certificate authorities. So this, like for example, this one has been signed with like Azure name is there. Somebody would have signed this google.com, I will say, certificate, or some CA would have signed this. So this, let's say here, the Firefox browser will also contain the public key of that. So of course, if you remember in this, if I go to this one, if I go to digital certificate here, if you do remember here, here I have mentioned a digital signature, and this digital signature is who is doing this digital signature? This is done by CA. So thus that CA, what it will do, it will use its private key. So that private key is only with the CA itself. Nobody else on the internet knows about the private key of CA. That will be secret to the CA itself. It will use its private key and it will encrypt this message, like whatever messages, like whatever fields are there, it will encrypt that message, and that encrypted message is basically digital signature. So that is stored here. Now the browser, what it will do, as I told you, the browser will know what is the public key of that CA, and the CA has used the private key to actually sign that, and the digital signature is there. Now the browser, what it will do, it will decrypt the digital signature that is there in the SSL certificate. It will decrypt that using the public key of CA. So the public key of that CA is stored in the browser itself. So it will use that to decrypt that. So the browser will now verify the decrypted message with the message in the SSL certificate. So it will verify. So it has decrypted this digital signature using the public key of the CA. Now it will verify whatever decrypted message it has got now, that should be equal to the above one, because reverse is also true, right? So it should be equal to the above one. But if it is not true, that means it will think that the server is not genuine, it is fake, and it will basically, end the connection itself. And if someone would have changed the message like public key and SSL certificate, so of course, if some fake web server is trying to, let's say, copy Amazon.com, what it will do, it will try to change something in between, right? For that. So it will maybe try to change the public key, or maybe try to change the domain name or something. It will try to change them. So if somebody would have changed that message like public key and SSL certificate, then it will be caught, because both the information will be same. So whatever browser has decrypted and the whatever message is there in the certificate, both will be different. So it will be caught. And do remember that only CA has the private key. So nobody else has this private key. So let's say if that fake web server, if they try to sign it, so of course the signature will be different here, because they will be using some other key, some other private key. Signature will be different and it will be easily caught by the browser here. And also the client also verifies if the IP of the server, so they are talking to some server, it will have the IP address, if that IP belongs to the domain name, like which is mentioned in the SSL certificate or not. So in SSL certificate, let's say google.com is mentioned. They'll verify that this IP address belongs to google.com itself. So they can of course use DNS for verifying this, because DNS stores the mapping of this. And also the browser can verify the expiry date also. So there will also be like not before and not after, like if you see these dates. So it can also verify that these dates are actually valid. So it can also verify that. And if any of these condition is not met, what it will do? it will just end the connection. And this is the diagram for what I have told. Like I have mentioned, like 9 steps here. So that can be summarized in, if you see 4 steps here. So you see client server is there. First, this, if you see this blue one, this is the TCP handshake, SYN, SYNAC, ACK. We are not going to discuss this here. So we are mostly going to focus on this LO, like whatever is there stored in the LO box. So the first one is, if you see, is the, so after TCP handshake is done, the first message is the client hello message. That's what I have told here. Like the client has hello message, which includes 3 things, like the TLS version the client supports, the cipher suits or the algorithms that it supports, and also random bytes, client random bytes. Then this will go to the server. Then server will actually, if you see the server, so there will multiple steps, but server will do the server hello. So it will also tell that, okay, which TLS version it will use. And then it will also actually decide like which algorithm to use. Then it will also share the SSL certificate with the client itself, and they will do server hello done. That means hello is done from the server side. Now it is waiting for the client, like communication from the client side. So if you see here, I have showed all these 3 steps: server hello certificate and server hello done in one box itself. But if you want to like draw this diagram differently, you can mark 3 different arrows for each step. Like for server hello, there is one communication. For certificate, there is one communication. For server hello done, there is one communication. 3 arrow lines you can draw if you want to. There is no issue with that. And then after this 3 messages are received by the client, then the client will, again, client key exchange will be there. That's what I told. This was the step number 4, the pre-master secret sharing, where actually the client obtained the random string of byte. It encrypted that using the public key of the server. Then it sent that. So that is this step, client key exchange. And then it will also have change cipher spec. That means, what does this change cipher spec means? That these steps mean that from now onwards, the communication will be encrypted, because now both have the same private key. After client key exchange, both will have the same private key. So after the client is telling that change cipher spec, that this means from now onwards, the communication from my side will be encrypted, and then it will send this finished message in the encrypted form. It will use the private key to encrypt this finished message, and it will send it to the server. Now server will receive these 3 messages, and after that, and also if we server will also send change cipher spec this message. This means that from server side also the communication will be encrypted from now onwards. And at last it will also send finished message that, okay, the handshake is finished, and it will basically encrypt this finished message with the private key that both have, and it will send it. And now the handshake is done. After this step, what will happen? The typical communication will happen. Like whatever application message they want to deliver, they will start delivering over this secure communication. And do remember that all TLS handshake make use of asymmetric encryption, that is using public and private key, but not all will use the private key in the process of generation of session keys. So this was the session keys that we generated here, right? The pre-master secret. This was the actually the session keys that was shared between both of them. But in Diffie-Hellman, there will be no use of private key of the server when we are generating the session keys. In that, there will be no use of private key of the server. So here you see client hello message is same as that of what we are discussing in RSA. Server hello is also same, but here if you see, there is one more step involved. That is step number 3. So everything is same. Client hello, server hello is same as RSA, but in server hello there is third step also. That is server reaches signature. This third step is very important here, because this is again sent with the server hello, but this is not done in the case of RSA key exchange algorithm. So the server uses its private key to encrypt the client random, the server random, and its DH parameter. So this client random was sent in the client hello message. So it will actually use all of this, like client random, server random, DH. DH parameter is basically some Diffie-Hellman parameters are there that are used in that algorithm itself. Now this encrypted data functions as the server's digital signature, establishing that the server has the private key that matches with the public key from the SSL certificate. So of course, the client will be able to obtain the public key from the SSL certificate. Now after this, server will send this to the client, this encrypted message. So the server has used its private key to encrypt the client random, server random, and DH parameter. Now this client will decrypt it using the public key of the server itself. And then it will see, let's say, take example, client random. So of course it can verify whether the client random is the same what it has sent before. So let's say after decrypting, it will verify with its random that is there stored in the client itself, the random that it has sent in the client hello message. If both are same, that means this server is genuine. Now after the server is verified, Now client and server calculate the pre-master secret. Like both will again same it's same step. Like both will calculate a private key here again. But in this case, like in the pre-master calculation here, pre-master secret calculation here, private key of I will say server will not be used. Instead of client generating the pre-master secret and sending to the server, as in RSA handshake, the client and server use the DH parameters they exchange to calculate the matching pre-master secret separately. So in the case of Diffie-Hellman, like for generating the pre-master secret, both will use the the Diffie-Hellman parameters that they have exchanged. So as I have told you right here, the server has in the third step, the server has shared the DH parameter in basically in the encrypted form. And if you see in the fourth step, the client has also sent the DH parameter to the server. After the sixth step, if session key is created, so private key is created on the both the sides. And of course, the client and server calculate session keys from the pre-master secret, client random and server random. Again, they will combine all of these three to obtain a common key, just like RSA handshake. Now client is ready, same as RSA handshake. Now server is also ready. Both will start communicating, normal communication. So next we will look at like this is the this image I have captured from the Wireshark itself. Like I have hit one website and then I have tried to filter the TLS handshake message that was there. So if you see a source address, this is the actually the IP address of my machine, and this is a destination address of the web server itself. And protocol uses TLS version 1 if you see here. And you see first is the client hello from the browser side, then is the server hello from the, if you see the IP 151, this is server IP, source is server. So server hello is from server side, but server will again send two more messages. It will also send a certificate, SSL certificate, and it will also do the server key exchange and the server hello done. So server key exchange is basically the Diffie-Hellman, like this step was there, right? The server's digital signature was there, where Diffie-Hellman and the encrypted form of all of these was sent. So this is the server key exchange. After receiving all of this, the client key exchange is done. So client will also share its Diffie-Hellman parameters, and it will tell that change cipher spec means that okay, from now onwards the communication will be in encrypted form, and it will also send an encrypted handshake message, that the finished message I told, it will encrypt it and send it. And similarly from the server side also, so after this server received this message, server will also change cipher spec, means from now onwards the server has the private key, and server will also use encrypted form of communication, and it will also send an encrypted handshake message to the client. Now this is the all the handshake. After this, if you see, the next step is application data. Both will start sharing the application data or communicating over this application data in encrypted form. This is another example of showing you like how this TLS handshake is done. So I am using the curl command, famous curl command that I have shown you in previous examples also. So just type curl and I will use this flag like three V's here for more verbose output. And I have hit here HTTPS site, not HTTP website. So I have used HTTPS world.com. If you see, the first part is of course the TCP handshake connecting to this. So of course the first part, if you see the IP address is there, that means DNS resolution has taken place. Next is connected to world.com, means TCP handshake has been done. After this, if you see, next is the TLS version 1.1.2 they are using. You see out means the client is sending to the server. In means something is coming from the server side. Do remember this. So first one is out, that means client is sending. So client is sending the client hello message, right? Next one is the in. That means something is coming from a server. So server is sending the server hello message. Next one is again in. So server is sending actually if you see four messages. Next one is the certificate. So after sending the server hello message, it is also sending the SSL certificate. After this also it is sending the server key exchange that I told you this step, where it encrypts the Diffie-Hellman parameters, the client random and those all things. That is done here. And then server finish. Server finish means it's done from the server side, like server has done the hello side. Now it is waiting for the client. Now next steps will be from client side. Now you see out here, so client key exchange. So client will of course send its Diffie-Hellman parameters. So this actually is using Diffie-Hellman key exchange algorithm. It's not mentioned here, but it's using because of the steps that I see here. Now next one is change cipher spec. That means from now onwards, client is telling that I will be using basically encrypted communication, and then it is finished. So the finished handshake message is telling that from my I am ready for the communication from now onwards. Similarly, in means the server is sending, server is telling change cipher spec. That means server is also ready now. It will also like do all the communication in encrypted form. And at last finished means just do the handshake, like the formality for finishing this, like okay, done. And after that, of course, you will see server certificate is also mentioned here. subject and start time, expiry date, who has actually issued this certificate, and everything is there. And you see, as a certificate verification is okay. That means whatever, this is the curl, right? So the curl has verified the certificate is okay. After that, both will start the communication actually. And one more thing important here is, see, port number 443. So in case of HTTPS, if you see, the client is connecting to port number 443. This is very, very important. I have not mentioned this before, but this is very important. If you type http google.com, it will connect to port number 80. For HTTP communication, port number 80 is used on the server side. But for communicating over HTTPS, a different port is used because the protocol itself is different here. So the port used here is 443 for HTTPS communication. Do remember this port number, and this is very, very important. And do remember that in both the examples, this one, that whatever I have captured here, and this one, in both these examples actually, the key exchange algorithm is Diffie-Hellman. Because of this, if you see this server key exchange is there, right? So here server is exchanging some key, that key that is client random and the Diffie-Hellman. So that's why extra step is there. So well, here if you see server key exchange is there, that means this is basically this algorithm. So here the communication is happening over Diffie-Hellman algorithm. So basically, this is for RSA algorithm. So you have to add something. So client hello will remain same. So let's say if you want to draw this diagram for Diffie-Hellman, so what you will do, client hello will remain same. But from the server side, there will be four steps. Server hello, certificate, and if you see, of course, you can see it here, right? For server side, there are four steps: server hello, certificate, server key exchange, and server finish. There are four steps from the server side. So you can write all these four steps here. From the client side, if you see again, there are uh, three messages. Three messages are out from client side. First is client key exchange, then client cipher spec and finished. So you can again, so of course finished is here, change cipher spec. So okay, all those three is already there. So you do not need to change anyone. And of course, this will also remain same. So one more method will be added to this if you see, if you are using Diffie-Hellman. And do remember that the overall the TLS handshake, like all the terms I have used, like how actually the client verifies that the server is genuine, and many of the terms like public and private key. I'm sure that many of you will not be able to understand this, like when you are reading about this for the first time. But do read more about cryptography, like about private key and public key, like how they are used for encryption and decryption. Then it will start making sense to you, like how this, like all this magic actually works. And also in the next video, what I will do, I will use a, like I will do the live, like I will say live demo on the YSARC itself and show you like all the messages that flow actually. This one actually I will show it in a live demo through YSARC in the next video. And I will also show you the messages that are there in all these packets that are there. In that way, you will also be able to learn it and practically. So that's all for this video. Thank you.